bite of the cold and wind outside? Why not slither indoors and snuggle up with your very own cuddly python? What? A snake? Yes. This Adabox is Python-powered. You'll soon find yourself charmed by the power and flexibility of CircuitPython, not to mention its ease of use. And the Python strikes fast. With no need for a compiler or IDE, you'll get your code up and running on the board quicker than ever. We think once you try it, you'll be hooked by how easy it is.
Hi, I'm John Park for Adafruit Industries, and welcome to the Adabox 006 unboxing. We're really excited about this Adabox. It is our CircuitPython edition of Adabox. So hopefully, if you're a subscriber, you've received your box and you can play along as we take out the parts and take a look at them. And we can talk a little bit about some of the projects you can do and what some of the parts can be used for. Let's go ahead and take a look at the contents of this beautiful purple edition of Adabox. Let's take a look at the sleeve insert in the box underneath our beautiful die-cut logo. And if you turn it around, you'll see it describes Adabox 006, CircuitPython. Now, it describes the contents, but why don't we go ahead and do something a little more fun and open them up and take a look ourselves. Sliding off the protective die-cut sleeve case, we come to the gorgeous Adafruit logoed box. Let's go ahead and open it up. Ooh. You'll notice inside we have the beautiful gift wrap tissue paper with the very cool logo that has soldering irons and circuit traces and plugs and things, suitable for regifting perhaps. And when we open it up, next thing we see is this little insert that tells us about the DigiKey corner. So the DigiKey corner is the addition to this box. It allowed us to put the alligator clips in that you'll be able to use to create the Fruitbox beat sequencer. And this is a really fun project that we'll take a look at a little later. But it was sponsored by DigiKey, so that's how we were able to include that extra in the box. Also, by the way, DigiKey has a full line of Adafruit accessories, so it's another great place to shop for all kinds of microcontrollers, as well as components and things that aren't in the Adafruit store. Okay, now we're ready to dig into the parts. The first one, I'm going to sneak past some of these other goodies and pull out the star of the show, which is the Circuit Playground Express. Now, the Circuit Playground Express deserves a little extra time spent on it. So let's open up the little retail packaging here and slide out our CPX, as some of us like to call it. Now I'm going to set that down here for a second and dig into the package a little further to find the very cool Adafruit sticker. And this has a little circuit trace style to it, and you can use this to deck out your skateboard or your book bag or maybe your lunchbox or computer case. Pretty cool. Now, the Circuit Playground Express is an unbelievable board. It is such an incredible value for all of the things that are packed into it, and it's a really great platform for learning and for creating projects on it. It has the M0 processor, which is a very powerful processor. It can run CircuitPython, it can run Make code, and it can run Arduino. You can use all of these pads on the outside as pins to connect to other things, and we'll talk about that a little later. You can also use a number of these pads as capacitive touch sensors so that it can register your inputs. It has two buttons built onto it. It's got a slide switch, it has an indicator LED, it has 10 RGB neopixels running around the outside of it, and it's got an accelerometer built onto it so we can test the rotation and shake and a few other things using that. We've also got a microphone on here so we can listen for things. We have a speaker on here so we can play sounds. There is a light sensor built in and a thermometer. So you can test all kinds of different sensors and you can send all kinds of outputs with it, which we'll be doing with some of these projects. Now it has a USB port on the top, which is how you'll program it, and you can power it in some projects that way. We also have a JST connector for connecting up a battery pack, and we include one that has a 3 AAA battery pack, but you can also run LiPoly batteries on this. Okay, so we've got our Circuit Playground Express, and you will learn all kinds of great programming techniques for coding in CircuitPython as well as MakeCode using all of the great guides and tutorials that we've written for this particular board and this particular Adabox, as well as a lot of existing content in the learning system. Now, besides being able to program the sensors and inputs and outputs that are built into the Circuit Playground Express, you'll also be able to use a lot of these add-ons that we've included in Adabox 006. So let's have a little further look at these goodies. Now, we've got some crafting supplies, including some little twist ties and a paint stirrer that you'll be able to use for the magic wand, which is a project that shows you how to use the accelerometer built on and light up lights and make sounds. So that's a pretty fun project. It's been a really popular one at educational events. And we have, this is a really good one. So this is the exclusive, very cool, very collectible pin of Blinka, our CircuitPython mascot, who is a, you guessed it, snake. This pin is the snake eating its own tail, and I actually have one right here on my collar. It's a very fashionable accessory. Besides the exclusive pin, which is only for subscribers, so be sure that you subscribe for Box 007 if you want whatever exclusive pin comes in that one and beyond. Now let's have a look at some of the other goodies in the big fat bag full of stuff. Okay, I'm going to take some of these bags out. Here we have, this is the AAA battery pack with belt clip. And this has a JST connector that plugs right into the bottom of the Circuit Playground Express like this. So you have a nice secure connection. And we also have an on-off switch built onto the box, which is great because that allows you to turn your projects on and off from this little convenient location. And the battery pack also has a belt clip so you can hook it onto a belt or onto other projects like we'll do with this project right here, the magic wand. You'll also find in here 3 AAA batteries. And those are for, you guessed it, the battery pack. That will power the board. We have a panel mount 10K potentiometer. Now you'll be able to use this with alligator clips hooked onto the Circuit Playground Express, and then you can read analog voltages as you turn the knob up and down. You could use that to change the speed of an LED blinking or the color on your RGB LEDs or the pitch of a sound. It's kind of limitless what you can do with just a simple knob. Okay, let's see what else we have in here. Here is some double stick foam tape that you can use to attach the board to a project or some of these accessories to the board itself. Here is our USB to USB micro cable that you'll be able to use to program the Circuit Playground Express. So you'll hook this up to your computer. Or you could also use the USB cable along with a battery backup, the kind that you use for your phone or tablet, in order to power the board. That's another alternative. We have some conductive copper tape, and this is pretty cool. You can do projects where you run tape off of these different capacitive touch sensors, and then you'll be able to use something much, much larger as your input, such as a piano or a DJ station. We have This is a little magnetic pin back, and we'll use this actually in our combination dial safe project. This has double stick foam tape on it, and you'll be able to adhere that to the back of the Circuit Playground Express, and then you place this other side with its magnets either behind a shirt, so you can wear it like a badge, or in the case of the combination dial safe project, we'll use this and a different magnet inside of a cardboard box so that we can turn the Circuit Playground Express like a dial. These are really convenient and handy. I like them. We have alligator clips, and lots of them. So these are alligator clips that you can use to connect things from the Circuit Playground Express with the alligator clip side over to something like a breadboard or a jumper cable that has a little female end on it, because these have what's called the male jumper end. And so those can plug directly from the Circuit Playground Express like so, and then stick that into a breadboard, or we're actually going to use that technique for our servo motor. Let's have a look at that, in fact. This is a little micro servo that is used usually for hobby things, and it can go from 0 to 180 degrees. You can send it to precise locations along that set of angles. And it also comes with a few different servo arms. So these can plug right into the little splined axle that's driven by the motor. And so they have these little wavy shapes that click on really definitively and won't slide or slip. And then you can, here now, as I turn the motor, you'll be able to control that angle using the Circuit Playground Express and your CircuitPython code. Also, you'll notice here we have these little ends that we'll be able to plug our alligator clip jumper wires into. Lots of good stuff in this box. It's unbelievable. We have an infrared remote, and these are great. These have a bunch of functions that you'd find on a typical stereo or TV remote, like up and down and left and right for navigating menus. We've got a volume up and a down. We have a pause, setup, a stop mode, a back button, and then you have all these numbered 1 through 9 and a 0. So you can use these to program kind of anything you want on the Circuit Playground Express. So for example, if you wanted to write something where you could go to a particular servo angle by typing it in here, you could write that. One thing to keep in mind is that you'll need to remove this little plastic protector so that the battery makes contact with the internals and it actually starts working. We have more alligator clips. So these are some nice long ones that you can use to connect your project to far off accessories, such as our potentiometer knob. And once again, thanks to DigiKey for sponsoring the Adabox 006 so that we could include that set of long alligator clip jumper wires. Speaking of long wires, we have this JST battery extender. So here you'll see this has a pair of JST connectors on it that can plug into our battery pack on one side. Flip that around. And then that will go into the Circuit Playground Express on the other side. So now we can extend the distance between the battery pack and the on-off switch that's on it and the Circuit Playground. We will be using this actually in the combo dial safe project so that the battery pack stays inside the safe and the dial is on the outside. And we have just a couple more things. It's unbelievable how much is in this box. We have a capacitor. So we'll be able to use this capacitor for protecting headphones or some external speakers from the current coming out of the Circuit Playground Express when you want to use external speakers. So we do have the one speaker built onto it, so you can make some little bleeps and noises on it. Pretty nice. But if you want something louder, you can use headphones. That capacitor will keep everything safe and sounding good. And the final item in the box, unless I've missed something, and I don't think I have, is a very high strength rare earth magnet. You can squeeze out your magnet. All right, so there we have this very nice rare earth magnet. Now the reason we included the magnet was for one particular project, although you might come up with all kinds of interesting uses for it later. For the combo dial safe project, we're going to use the magnetic pin back, and once this has been adhered to the back of the Circuit Playground Express, we'll put the magnet on the other side of a cardboard box, and that'll give us a central pivot to freely spin the Circuit Playground Express, which will act like a combination dial. So that wraps up the exploration of the internals of Adabox 006. To recap, we have our Circuit Playground Express. We've got USB cable for data. We have JST connector extender for the battery pack. We have battery pack with on-off switch. We've got 3 AAA batteries, a hobby servo, servo arms, copper tape for interesting connections. We have a magnet, we have paint stirrer, we have twist ties, we have long alligator clip wires thanks to DigiKey, we have small alligator clip to jumper wires, we've got the potentiometer, of course the excellent Blinka pin, some double stick foam tape, the pin back with magnet, and capacitor. Let's not forget the IR remote. So there's all kinds of great projects you'll be able to build with this, and you'll be able to learn CircuitPython, which is actually a lot of fun and a really great way to start programming microcontrollers. In fact, it doesn't require any special software to download in order to program it. You simply use a text editor, and then you can plug in the Circuit Playground Express, and it'll show up like a USB drive. When you save a Python file to the board, it restarts and runs the code. So it's really interactive and a really fun and exciting way to program. You'll also be able to use Make Code, which is a graphical interface inside of your browser that allows you to plug different blocks and boxes into each other and use code that you can really see and understand how things fit together. I thought it'd be fun to plug in the Circuit Playground Express and see what it does when you boot it up for the first time. Plug in our batteries. Oop. Slide this cover back on. Let's see, we're in the off position, so for drama's sake, we'll plug it in, prepare the switch. And we get a little demo program playing. Could turn the sound off the switch. And there's our little Circuit Playground Express in action. And I'm sure you can't wait to start doing the tutorials and learning to program it for yourself. I'm John Park for Adafruit Industries, and I really hope you've enjoyed the Adabox 006 unboxing. Hey, all right, so thanks everyone for tuning in to check out the unboxing. And I'll just do a quick check-in with Discord. I know we've got people in the Discord chat and the YouTube chat hanging out, and I know Lady Ada is there. Official Adafruit is there, that's PT, I'm pretty sure. And what I wanted to do is, once we're sure everything is a go on sound, it looks like it is from where I stand, I wanted to go over some of the projects that you'll get to build with the Adabox 006. So hey, we're golden. Thank you so much. This is the immediacy and community and benefit of our Discord chat. We love it. Thanks so much. And we love you too, everyone in YouTube and everywhere else. We're all about love. So this is the first project I wanted to show because I've got it right in the middle of my workbench here. And let me switch cameras real quick. I'm going to put the bench camera there, and I'm going to put me in the corner. Okay. So moving this out of the way, here we have the Fruitbox sequencer. So this one uses the Circuit Playground Express. I've written some code in CircuitPython that triggers wave files. So we can actually play back wave files over the little speaker, or in this case, I've actually got a real sort of powered external speaker hooked up. I say real, it's louder. So you can hear some samples here, and the idea behind this one is it's not a sort of solo instrument to just play in real time. It's actually a sequencer. So what I can do is, if you see here on my Circuit Playground Express, right now the first sample is, let's say, that little hi-hat. Then when I hit the button, I move to the second sample. It just played what the second sample currently is set to, but I'm going to change that. Not to that. How about that? Now I'll go to the third, and let's do that pattern again. And that is the first 8 steps of a 16-step sequence. Now it's already going to default to have some, so I won't go through the second set, but what I'll do now is switch the little switch over to playback mode, and now you'll see when I press the button, it's just going to play through that loop one time, 16 beats. And you can see the colors are based on which sounds are being played. So there's your Fruit sequencer. Now we've got some code in there to adjust the sensitivity of the capacitive touch so that you can use the pads just by themselves. You can hook them up to pennies. You can hook them up to copper tape. And remember, we have the copper tape that comes in the pack. And so over here, if I turn this on, this is a little mini guide that I wrote for the large Circuit Playground Express guide that we did. It has a whole bunch of little mini guides that tell you how to use each of the sensors, and then there's a playground area where I do a similar thing, but instead of a step sequencer, this is just a little simpler, but it's more for solo play. And you can see I've got copper pads based on that little copper tape that we put in the Adabox 006. And I've got it hooked up to a nice little amplifier here. More cowbell. So that one you can place sort of to accompany your sequencer if you like. So let me turn that off. Now the next project I want to show is another one that we have a Learn guide for. It might be the simplest one of the projects that were built for 006, and you might want to check this one out first. This is a snow globe project. So using the Circuit Playground Express, the battery, and a little bit of CircuitPython code, you can make a snow globe, and then you can get a go to a craft store and get supplies to build your own snow globe, which uses water and glycerin and some glitter. I 3D printed our little friend here. Let me switch cameras for a second. There we go. I've 3D printed our little friend here, the Adabot, and you'll see when I turn on the battery pack, there's a Circuit Playground stuffed inside underneath here, and you can see there it's glowing green. It's playing a little song. Now when I shake it, you can see it turns blue. And it's going to flash white. We got the nice glitter, and then we'll get a little Let It Snow. So that's a really fun guide, and we also have a guide in the Learn system of building a similar snow globe using make code. So this is CircuitPython is something we're talking about a lot with this Adabox 006, but you can also use make code. And in a second I'm going to show a quick demo of what that looks like. It's a graphical interface for building projects, and most of these projects we're doing could be created with the simpler plug-and-play block style of make code or the slightly more advanced CircuitPython. And so let's see, another project I want to show you is the safe. So let me switch cameras again here. So this is a combination dial safe. So I've got the batteries inside. I'm going to unplug this so we don't get drum sound effects while we do that. I'm going to plug the batteries in, and I've already turned on the battery switch. We used the little pin back, magnetic pin back, and the rare earth magnet in this project. The rare earth magnet is on the other side of the cardboard, and now I can turn this freely, and you can see the neopixels change colors as they encounter a different rotation based on Earth's gravity. So it's a little hard to do at an angle while I show you in the camera, but let me switch to this camera again. So if you look here, I'm going to set the combination, or enter the combination that is, which is magenta, white, and around to yellow. When I press that, watch the little servo motor opens up to allow us inside of the safe. And then you can get out your brass knuckles, of course, or whatever you have in there. Maybe it's best to not show everybody. So that's the combo dial safe project. And then let's take a second. I'm going to show you another little movie that I prepared of Make Code in action, and then I'll show you the project that I built using that. So let's head over here. And I'm going to describe what's going on here with this one. Let me make my own video go off to the corner a little bit. I'll stay over here, how about? And let's go ahead and play this movie. So what we're doing here is sped up a bit and edited, but I'm going in and in a Make Code session, I'm going to create an input block that checks the accelerometer, and it defaults to shake, but I'm going to switch that to tilt up, so when it's tilted in the upward direction. And then we can tell it to show the neopixels, and we can test that out over there on the left by shaking the virtual circuit playground express. And now I'm using that little interface to switch the colors so that when it's in the up position it lights up green. And it's very easy to build this four-directional pattern because we can duplicate each little set of blocks. So I've just switched the drop down from tilt up to tilt right, and now I'm changing the colors to red. So now I'll go test it out again inside of this interface. You can see, without even running it on your real board yet, you can tell if the code is working. So now you can imagine we're going to duplicate that again for the down position. So on tilt down. And what this is going to give us is a Circuit Playground Express that changes its colors as we rotate it. Now you saw how I used that for the Combo Dial Safe project. This is another project that is in our little extras section in the guide, which is a light paintbrush. So you can use this for long exposure photography to paint with colored light. And as you rotate your paintbrush, you're going to change the colors based on the angle that you rotate it. And then with the Circuit Playground Express using Make Code, once you're happy with your code, and actually we'll do a couple other quick things, which is use the two buttons, this button A and button B. We'll use those two buttons to change the brightness, and we'll just set it to have a couple of different settings. So right now we have on button A click, that's the button on the left of the board as you look at it. We're going to set the brightness to something like a quarter brightness or so, of 50, or somewhere between a quarter and a fifth of the total brightness. The top number on this is 255, which is kind of crazy bright. But here what we'll do is say on button B being clicked, we'll go for it, 255. Now testing this over here, you can see this is the full brightness when A is clicked, and then when B is clicked, you'll see it dims the little pixels a little bit. It's a little hard to see on video. So now we're going to name this program. I'm calling it Light Paintbrush, and save it onto the Circuit Playground Express. So actually I'm going to save it to my Downloads folder. And this universal flash format, the UF2, is what we use both for our Python code and for these Make Code. So here we go. We're going to drag that onto our board. Now, the board has essentially two modes. You can double-click the reset button and it goes into a bootloader mode where it wants you to upload a UF2 file. And sometimes that's our CircuitPython in its entirety. Sometimes that's one of these Make Code. Now that it's on the board, oh, that's going to switch back. I'm going to head over to my workshop camera over here, and we'll take a look at the light paintbrush. So this one, I also have a knob on it, so you can read your analog knob. So you can see I'm changing colors as I switch. Oh, am I? There we go. So as I rotate this, and then if you take a look at the guide, and we're going to have a little look now for a few minutes at our gotta find my guides. There we are. So this is the main guide that you're going to go to now that you have your Adabox 06. And as you go through here, you'll be able to follow along with the unboxing again, look at all the individual parts. Then we have a section on getting started with Make Code and CircuitPython. So these quick start guides will show you everything you need to know about downloading the proper code onto the Circuit Playground Express. Then you'll get to the meat of the projects. So here in this Circuit Playground Express and Make Code section, you can see another demo of some of the block dragging fun that you can do. Here is, let's see, the light paintbrush. So if you have an idea here of what it looks like, I've set a camera to a long exposure. I think I had this set at about 6 seconds. And then I drew a letter in the air and repeated that process until I had the letters necessary to say Happy New Year. So painting with light is a lot of fun, and you can even use iOS and Android apps to do it. You don't need a very fancy camera, but it's a whole lot of fun to learn about painting with light. And we've done quite a few tutorials in the Learn Guide on Adafruit about different types of light painting techniques, so check that out. We also have the Make Code Magic Wand. So this is a popular project, and this is why we included this paint stirrer and these little twist ties, these little metallic twist ties, so that we could make this project that uses the accelerometer to change color and light. And then we'll skip through some of the others and head to the CircuitPython projects. And here you'll see we have everything you need to know about building the snow globe. And if I head over to, let's see, this link, you'll see the very in-depth discussion of the parts that you'll need. I used some pretty strong glue to make sure that we didn't leak water onto the Circuit Playground Express, something you wouldn't want to do. We talk about the downloads for the libraries, which are these Python modules that help you do things with easier code. And then the actual build on your snow globe. So using glycerin to make the water thicker so that the glitter can suspend in the air a little more inside your snow globe. And yeah, there were some questions about this. You can get snow globes at the hobby store or the dollar store. And I think that we may actually start carrying them in the Adafruit store. So moving on, we have our Fruitbox sequencer project, and this includes the sound samples, the drum samples that you heard me playing earlier. And then we have our combo dial safe project and everything you'll need to know about that. And then we'll continue on to other guides. So there are so many guides that we've created. We in fact have a whole category for the Circuit Playground Express. If I click this, you'll see in our Learn Guide, here is the snow globe, the other snow globe, and this is the one you can make with Make Code and some slightly different techniques that Liz Clark made. Very cool guide. And you got a Charlie Brown in there. We have Morse code flashers. We have another snow globe, or sort of a jar snow globe, that Pelly at Microsoft made. And there's these projects that are familiar to you by now. Lots of fruit, right? It's Adafruit. So here, Kattni, who's one of our amazing CircuitPython developers and very active on the Discord chat, has created for us. Oh, let me switch over to a talking to you. Maybe you can sort of see me. There we go. Hello. And on and on and on. So we've even got cases for the Circuit Playground. I actually just printed one earlier today. I've got a nice little blue case here that's from the Ruiz brothers, and you'll see here I'm powering this one with a LiPo, so you don't have to use the AAA battery pack. You don't have to use USB. You can also use LiPos, although it does not charge. We don't have a charging circuit in this, so you'll want to check out the feathers for that. And let's see. Beyond that, we've also got some interesting stuff coming up using infrared. We have that little remote in there. I'm actually going to put together a project. I've got a couple more projects that I'm going to build before the end of the year, and one of them is going to use the remote control on the Circuit Playground Express in CircuitPython. So look forward to that if you're interested in using the cute little remote to do things. Before I finish up here, I did want to show off the little pin one more time. Let's switch to the overhead, in fact. The downshooter cam. There we go. So there is our lovely little Blinka pin eating her own tail. She's our mascot for CircuitPython. So let's go back over here, and the last thing I want to say is thank you all so much for coming out. We are thrilled to be able to share Adabox 006 with you, and we really look forward to seeing the projects that you build with this as a starting point. This is one of the things that's so exciting about CircuitPython and the Circuit Playground Express is that it's great for building projects. It's not just a learning tool, but it has so much packed onto it that you can build incredible things. So we're amazed always at the things that we see people building out there. So share them with us on social media and let us know about what you're making, and head to the forums on our forums.adafruit.com/Adabox. We have people discussing their projects and showing them off, which is really exciting to see what you're doing. And the last thing I'll say is we are very excited about 007. So if you're not a subscriber, it's time to subscribe, because 007 is going to be a fantastic box, and we really look forward to sharing that with you in 3 months. So thank you all for coming out. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park, and if you'd like to discuss things further, I'll be in the Discord chat. Bye-bye.